Welcome back to the Fibro Man channel. I mentioned in my last video that we're going to hit it pretty hard as far as like the cognitive issues that we deal with, the mental health aspect, and so this is almost maybe like a second part to my last video. So if you get a chance to go back and look at that previous video about worry and anxiety, please do that. So a short recap, worry happens in our minds. Stress and anxiety are results that affect our minds and bodies. What is the definition of worry? This comes from the Oxford language. Give way to anxiety or unease, allow one's mind to dwell on difficulty or troubles. That's kind of an okay definition, I think, but we're going to be a little bit more specific when we see how anxiety is something that we're certainly trying to avoid. So the next definition is from Webster of stress, a physical, chemical, or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension and may be a factor in disease causation. So we'll learn how kind of one thing leads to another. So the definition of anxiety, a mental condition characterized by excessive apprehensiveness about real or perceived threats, typically leading to avoidance behaviors and often to physical symptoms such as increased heart rate and muscle tension. I like that because it's hitting a little closer to how worry and stress can lead to this situation with anxiety that we're trying to avoid. So again, I'm so sorry. Worry can lead to stress, which can result in anxiety, physical symptoms in our bodies that can be an unhealthy pattern. The Henry Ford Foundation has some interesting information that I found, and I just want to kind of highlight some of that. They talk about worry versus anxiety. So there are 5 points. Number one is, again, worry tends to reside in our minds. Anxiety affects both body and mind. Number two is worry is specific. Anxiety is more generalized. Number three, worry is grounded in reality. Anxiety is marked by catastrophic thinking. So it says there's a logical component to worry. Your brain is trying to make sense of a real and present danger. Worrying about your fears are worrying when your fears are actionable makes sense. So it's worry that can lead you to take precautions in life. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. Anxiety, on the other hand, overestimates risk. I like how it puts that. So let's say if the real risk is if the real risk of a negative outcome is, say, like 10%, someone who is anxious may perceive the risk closer to 70%. That's just an example that was given in this article. And then to make matters worse, people who suffer from anxiety may underestimate their ability to cope with a negative outcome. So listen to that. I'm going to read that one more time because I can relate to that. To make matters worse, people who suffer from anxiety may underestimate their ability to cope with a negative outcome. So again, we're dealing with a perception, but it really has a huge impact in our life. So we're going to talk about maybe how we can manage those perceptions a little bit better. Number four, worry is temporary. Anxiety is long-lasting. Number 5 is worry doesn't impair function. Anxiety does. So I think those are really good points that were put in that article. Again, it was a Henry Ford health reference. So the goal is to control worry in a healthy way to lessen our level of anxiety, or lessen that, I would say lessen the level of stress, and so that it doesn't lead to anxiety. So stress is always going to be there, but if we can begin to process things differently in our minds, we can get a better handle on how we react to the stress and how those reactions can improve our physical and emotional well-being. I'm sure there are a lot of don'ts when it comes to our reaction, especially when dealing with stress, but I want to focus on the positives in this lesson. So again, thanks for joining me, and I'm going to try to do my best to work my way through it. There's actually a Bible scripture I would like to put out there. It's Philippians 4, chapter 4, that is, verses 4 through 9. Paul is talking to the church of Philippi in his letter. And here, listen to what he says. Rejoice in the Lord always. I'll say it again. Rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. I think that is just huge. So listen to the points of this again. So don't be anxious about anything. He's saying, I know it's easier said than done, but it's given a way or a solution. But in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving. So those three things: prayer, petition, thanksgiving. Present your request to God, and then listen to the outcome, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So see that transfer there from the worrying or whatever, and using these tools of prayer and petition and thanksgiving. So I'm going to go on with that scripture. It says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever we have learned or received or heard from me, not me, but as Paul that was writing this, or seen in me, Paul, put into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. I mean, just reading that just sounds wonderful. And I think that's certainly a goal to work towards, and gives us some tools there to use. And again, this part of it here towards the end of that is again taking the focus and making sure that we're focusing on something positive, being out in nature and just seeing the beauty of things and the beauty of people around us, and taking that in and trying to get our minds transferred away from the pain and away from the depression or whatever whatever we're going through. So what are some things that we can work on that may help reduce worry and stress, and hopefully avoid or relieve some of the symptoms of anxiety? At the beginning of my Fibro Man channel, when I did the welcome, and one of the things that I said is I want to add a preventive aspect to the lessons, and that may or may not be possible to prevent some chronic conditions because of genetics and other factors, but even if even where we are at today, or right now as you're listening to this, we can develop some skills so that we can at least try to help ourselves to move in a more positive direction. So that's the goal. There's no quick fix to anything. I realize that, even though it would sure be nice, wouldn't it? So here's some things that I put down that I think could be helpful. And I put down love and not judge. I think that's really important. Decaffeinate. We live in a very caffeinated society, and sometimes that can just work to ramp up stress and all of that. So I put less or no nicotine. You know, everyone has has their own vices. I understand that too, but I think it's really wise to focus on healthy choices that can help us to move in the right direction with our health, being our mental health and our physical health. And I put also slow down, take one thing at a time. I know my brain gets overwhelmed if there's too much going on once. I just can't hardly do that. Sometimes maybe slowing down means getting off by ourselves and just having some quiet time or whatever. That's kind of the next point, is turn off the noise, and listen to the quiet. Be out in nature and just learn to slow down a little bit in life and realize it's okay. You've probably went through, if you're a little bit older individual, you've went through a lot of things in life, and the stress has been very impactful. Just kind of slow it down, turn the notch down there, and just learn to take care of yourself and relax a little bit. There's a time in life, I believe, that we need to take care of ourselves, and if we can't do that, we really can't help anybody else out. I also put down reduce visual stimulation from electronic devices, especially in the evening. If you're having problems with sleeping, that could certainly be a factor. Be with other positive people. We certainly need each other. There are times that we really need to have that encouragement and be in a situation where we can encourage others. My fibro buddy, her name is Marty, and I appreciate her so much. We check on each other, and it took me years to find her. Actually, my wife found Marty. Sounds funny, I know, but she was hired at my wife's workplace, and Marty couldn't work there very long because of so much pain that she was in, but she was there long enough that my wife recognized her symptoms were almost identical to mine, and I tell Marty that we're twins. So because of our symptoms and everything, it's just unreal. And so we encourage one another. You need somebody that knows what you're going through to try to help you deal with this stuff. Another thing I put down is there may be, this kind of the flip side of the coin, there may be toxic relationships that we just have to stay away from. So I'll just leave that there. Focus on something good. We talked about that in the 4th chapter of Philippians there, to get our minds off of worry, and also to try to get our minds off of physical symptoms. Find something that we enjoy doing. I think really helps to kind of channel our mind to something else. So the pain's there, it's still going to be there, or the depression, whatever it is, but trying to channel and getting off of, even if it takes our mind or focus off of that a little bit, is certainly worth it. And again, it's not so easy, but it does, and it can work. Another thing I put was to keep moving. A body in motion stays in motion, right? So we want to keep living and moving, whatever that looks like for you. I realize it's probably going to look different for each one of us. But I put down Tai Chi if you're able to do something like that. It's slow movements. There's a YouTube channel. It's called Tai Flow, Taiflow. And this lady does a wonderful job guiding you through Tai Chi. And a lot of doctors are realizing how important it is to do these self-help type uh, things like this, because if you've been into this for a while, you realize that there's not a quick fix. There's not a medicine that's gonna just fix all of the pain and all of our symptoms. The next thing I put down that might be the most difficult is trying to act the way that you want to feel instead of waiting for the feeling. So we're kind of tricking our symptoms. Uh, I go through difficult times. It's all the time, but especially I was especially dealing with depression and stuff at kind of a severe level, and I started trying to use some of these things of like self-talk, and I know it seems and it sounds silly, but I'd say, I feel great, I feel wonderful, and nothing can bring me down, trying to, and it turned it into a song. So if you get a chance to check out my Fibro Man channel, it's called The Wonderful Song. I feel good, I feel great, life is wonderful. And it's not a bad thing to learn and to repeat. I feel good, I feel great, life is wonderful. So see how that kind of is an attempt to kind of turn the tables on our pain and whatever we're suffering with. So again, trying to focus on being positive while well, maybe kind of trying to make light of the negative a little bit. So I use a phrase, it's all good. My wife will ask me something, and and she knows I'm struggling, and I say it's all good. So just trying to come up with more positive answers to people, when they ask you how you're doing and stuff like that. It's good to be alive. What are some things that you can think of that you can come up with? I know it seems like we're just lying. Sometimes we really need to talk to somebody about how difficult it is too. So, it just depends where we're at in any given situation. I put another one down as not to neglect our sexual health, because there are releases there that certainly help us with the way we feel, and can certainly be something that is beneficial to us. So some of the things that's been helpful for me, I put down praise and thanksgiving, like I mentioned in Philippians there, and then prayer, another part of that aspect. Reading the Bible, and sharing with others. So I like to do Bible reading at night, counseling. I don't think anyone should ever be ashamed of the fact that you may need counseling. So that's another good avenue there. Medicine management. I put down dark chocolate. Studies have showed that, of course, if you're diabetic, you got to be careful about that. But in small amount can actually create a chemical reaction like that helps relieve stress. Healthy comfort food. It's really easy to get into this mode of, and I was there for quite some time, I think, where just eating, it was really horrible in a way, because it's like I would just eat to try to feel better. Just, it's not even going to work, but it's just an action, and it creates a habit. So I think what we can do is create healthy habits. There's a website, it's called Full Plate Living, and I'll call it a program, I guess, but it helps you so much to focus on healthier choices with eating. I try to stay away from all the preservatives and all those additives, finding out that um, I have an intolerance to those things. So I really try to avoid all of those things that you can't pronounce in the food label, that's in the ingredients, the best that I can. So I highly, highly recommend that, focusing on our health. Um, that's something we have control over, what we put in our bodies, right? I put down some other things like building Legos, doing puzzles, drawing. Um, I got into a craft a while back of making pom poms. I know it's funny for a guy, but it's a lot of fun. Reading books, taking a walk. I like taking photographs and sharing them on a photo website and see how people react to those, and people will download those, and it's just really a cool thing to do. But it helps me to focus on things around me. It really has kind of helped me to take the focus off myself. To other people react really well. If you ever thought about doing photography and ask people to take their photos, especially the young people, they love it. They like the attention, and then maybe turn around and share those. Um, Playing my guitar, recording music, playing with our kitty cat, or if you like whatever your animal is for encouragement or comfort. Being around others, encouraging others. Um, I want to focus on that too, because you know, thinking about others really does kind of help take our focus off of ourselves. Um, just I put staying active the best we can, karaoke, dancing, just being silly, putting, chipping at a golf range. Um, I don't know. I have limitations on a lot of these type of things, so it just depends on the day and the weather or whatever, or my moods. Staying cool. Um, so a lot of this relates to me, but it relates to you also. So that's why I'm sharing this. They make really good cooling wraps for your neck if you need something like that, and heating wraps if the heat helps. Staying hydrated is definitely something that's important. A hot shower for me helps on my neck to loosen the muscles and stuff like that. There's a cream. I want to say that it's called Tiger Balm. I'll do a separate video on some of this pain management coming up, where I'll actually show you some products and stuff like that. A hot shower, just learning to have fun in life and try not to take things too seriously is a good approach. Having a date with my wife or watching a movie. So motivation, what motivates you? So I told you quite a few of the things that that I'm interested in, try to focus on. Do you remember Peter Pan? Can't fly without happy thoughts. I think that's a really cool example there, because think of wonderful thoughts. All it takes is faith and trust and a little bit of pixie dust, right? So sometimes we feel maybe like we lost our marbles too, like Toodles did. But once Peter and his children return home, Peter gives Toodles his marbles, and he rejoices. And I know it's kind of a strange example there, but I think it's very fitting, because it shows interaction about how one person can help another, and it also shows how we can take some action in our own thoughts and move forward with focusing on something, putting something out there that gives us some hope and gives us something to look forward to. We all need that. So sometimes we can experience such a traumatic situation, or just the experience of life itself, that it can reach a critical point. And there's no shame, like I mentioned earlier, about seeing a doctor or a psychiatrist, getting counseling. If you ask any mental health care professional, they'll tell you that the keys to improving your mental health are medicine management and counseling. And sometimes genetics plays a role when it comes to how susceptible we are to depression, stress, and leading to anxiety and other anxiety and other mental health disorders. So if you find yourself, feeling hopeless, helpless, lacking motivation, contemplating self-harm or harming others, please seek medical attention. It's not normal to feel that way, and there definitely is help out there that can make you feel better. It may be a long road, but it's certainly worth it. You are a very special individual. You're loved, and we need each other, and we're in this together. So let's do what it takes to encourage one another and to hang in there. And I know it's not easy. And we're all affected differently by stress, and we're affected in different ways. So I put down that we shouldn't compare ourselves to others, and others shouldn't compare themselves to us, especially to be critical of one another. And what if we just cared about each other and tried our best to encourage one another? That sounds like a good plan, doesn't it? So caring about each other and using encouragement. So the last part of this is, I think, and I remember, just how, I want to say devastating, but it's tough every day. But the thing about it is, I guess in my mind, I had to think, well, got to take where I'm at and have some kind of purpose. You have to have some kind of purpose and some kind of goal in life. So, I'm sorry, I'm really struggling to go through this. It's not real easy. So, the purpose that I found and that I'm still working on it, is to find other individuals out there, and I want to encourage you to do the same thing, and to try to help you realize that wherever you find yourself, you have a purpose. And there are other individuals like us who are going through chronic pain, who need some type of touch, some type of encouragement. Maybe not an actual physical touch, because especially with fibromyalgia, that might hurt. But they may need just a simple "I'm thinking of you" phone call, a text, or something. And I know there are individuals who may be bedbound with chronic pain, and just do the best you can, and it's all right. When you interact with someone, just do the best you can to be an encouragement. I remember a lady from church, and she would call me every once in a while, and she would give us, here she's in a nursing home and she's going through problems. Her husband wasn't well, but she was working to reach out even in a difficult situation, and she would tell us, to have a friend, you need to be a friend, and I'll never forget that. So let's be a friend to somebody out there who's struggling, and so we can try to encourage them. So I'm going to leave it at that, because I'm really worn out. I did this video one other time, and my microphone wasn't working right, so this is my second time going through it, and I'm not hanging in there very well. So I hope there's something in this lesson that may be beneficial to you, and I just want to let you know that I love and appreciate you very much. Thanks for being a part of this. Fibro Man signing out. Have a wonderful day.